Welcome back. Our dad panel, parenting experts here, Dr. John Duffy, Jim Higley, and Jeff Wensler. They're the 3 J's. And they've agreed to answer your questions. Thanks, you guys, for being here.
Thank you.
I know, Jeff, you're a little uncomfortable with the parenting expert thing. But it cracks me up because he's like, well, if you see me at the grocery store, you won't think I'm a parenting expert. This is so cute. Okay, so we heard from Selena. Why don't you take this, John? My 15-year-old son won't listen. He tries to run the household. I see his attitude. My youngest boys, they're 4 and 6. And the saddest part is my 1.5-year-old is getting his attitude and talks back. And I can see this because I have a teenager now and then 2 younger kids, and you do worry that that attitude rubs off.
Yeah. Well, one thing I find is the 15-year-olds, teenagers, their younger siblings affect them. And if you let them know, hey, your modeling is affecting your younger brother, younger sister, he may or may not respond to that. Sticking true to my word, though, I would really focus on, okay, so you've got a 15-year-old boy here. How do we want him to respond? How do we draw a good response from him? And it really is listening more than talking at him to see, okay, buddy, what kind of need is this fulfilling in you? You don't ask that, but if you can get him talking about it instead of telling him, you can't do this and this is why, you might get to some idea of what's underneath it all for him. You know what I mean? And that's really kind of, to my thinking, the most important thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really about that conversation and listening and having a dialogue, it sounds.
Definitely.
Okay, this one may or may not be a dialogue because it involves younger kids. And Jeff, I know this is kind of up your alley. So Christina asks, how do we get a 3-year-old to respect our respect the parents and not be so rough with her 14-month brother? Timeouts aren't working. They're putting her in a room and they close the gate to keep her in, and she goes crazy. And they don't start that 3-minute timer until she initially calms down. They said she is good at getting what she wants. Is it her fault, and how can they change it?
Great question. And first of all, I would think that timeouts are almost like triage, right? You have to separate the kids. So if they have to go into a room, of course, that's an important thing. But I feel that getting them focused on something else, on a project together, I mean, it's kind of strange to say we should all have hugs, but if you can get, my 2 kids to hug each other and actually working on a project, right? To say, hey, look, let's make cookies together. Let's do Legos together, and be like, you know what? You're actually hurting somebody. You don't want to play rough with your younger brother. That seems to work. So, really sharing that with them.
I like that.
Diverting.
Yeah, diverting I think is good. And a lot of parents just put them in a room, and I've done that. My kids have, sometimes it works. Some kids, they do go crazy. And so I think having something to do to occupy some brain space is a good idea.
And that's not a reward. It's just diverting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, this question is from Sandra. Jim, how do I motivate my 20-year-old? I think a lot of people struggle with that post-teen, and it's like, are they working? Are they in school? Like, come on, get up and do something.
And yours are what, 21 and 23?
21, 23, and 17. So I've been through that, and you know what? 20-year-old's an adult. Let's face it. And so I think the first part of the question, or the answer, I would encourage the parent who posed it is for them to look closely at themselves and how they are parenting. Are they enabling the situation? Are they doing, be honest with yourself. Are you contributing to the mess? Are you doing all the laundry? Are you doing all the cooking? Are you letting your, you gotta be honest about yourself. You can't expect change unless you're really setting a tone. Second thing is, because your child's an adult, you need to have adult conversations. Not yelling, not screaming. We know rule number 1, don't do that. But put the topic out there on the table with your child. Let them know that you'd like to talk about it. Give them a chance to think about what's important to them. Don't corner them, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Schedule a time to talk to them about this topic. And maybe you need a contract. Maybe you need to have a contract with that child about what you're prepared to do as their parent. You can stay here, you can live in my house, but these are the rules, these are the timeline, these are your obligations, these are the consequences. You need to be very diligent about the agreement in terms of that part of your life. It will pay off because it'll motivate them to move forward and really be on their own.
Later.
I like that. Okay, here's one that I think is on the forefront of all topics right now, especially with the Green Bay cheerleader who was just on the Today Show. Julie says, what do you tell a teen to do when they're being bullied by their teammates? People who should be sticking by their side, especially if a coach is not helping the situation or not sticking up for them. John?
Jim and I were just talking about this, and the first impulse we had was, wow, that's always so sad.
It is.
And it feels sad, right? One thing I learned is when you talk to kids about it, usually that is the underlying feeling, but there's usually something else going on as well, so you want to understand their experience. one thing I've learned lately that I didn't know is that sometimes the bullied kid bullies other kids too. So they play multiple roles. So it's really complex. So first you want to understand, and then there's this opportunity you have to connect with your kid and brainstorm about, okay, how best can we handle this? And I think that opens up that conversation that I always want parents and kids to have to kind of mitigate that issue.
So there's no blanket answer of this is what you should do. It's going to be individual to that teen and what they feel comfortable doing?
Almost always in my mind. You may feel differently.
No, I don't feel differently. Circumstance, the overriding issue with bullying in our country is education. We have to get the subject out and talk about it early about how we treat each other. When you have a specific issue like this as a parent, you're in crisis. I mean, you are not sleeping as a parent.
Right.
Your life is turned upside down because your child is being hurt. You can't necessarily fix it by yourself would be the first thing I'd say is you are not the police. You are not, do not be afraid to go seek help from school officials. And if you don't, keep going up the ladder. If you're not getting help from the guidance counselor, the social worker, the principal, keep going back.
I think
agree.
that's a great point to end on.
I'm going to give the information again for this great event that you guys have coming up because it's happening a week from today from 7 to 9 p.m. Monday night, February 18th. You can RSVP by going to the website that you see there at the bottom of your screen. It's at Concordia University, the Terrace room. And if people don't know where that is, they can go to the website, right?
They can go to that website or pivotaldirections.org, and there's a little bit more background information, as well as Molly Faye will be our moderator that evening, so that'll be fantastic.
Thanks, you guys. And that was an email address. I'm sorry, it was not a website. It was an email address that you can go to RSVP for the event next week. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, you guys were fantastic.
Really awesome.
You'll come back?
Absolutely.
Anytime.
Sure.
Perfect. We love it. Thank you.